Good afternoon, everyone. Rare snowfall in the northern part of Laos and Vietnam. Anywhere you see a red dot, it snowed in Vietnam. The first ever recorded snowfall in Nghe An. That's 300 kilometers south of Hanoi. The highlighted area here, it's at 18.5 north. They didn't receive a dusting, they received 20 centimeters for the first time ever recorded. Crops were damaged across Laos and Vietnam. Livestock, 9,000 plus dead animals, lighting fires under the buffalo to keep them warm so they don't freeze to death. Commuters throughout Hanoi didn't know how to deal with the cold. Images of the tree cover, and you need to ask yourself, at 18.5 north latitude, snow on banana trees, do you think this is normal? At the same time, blizzards raged across the east coast of the United States. Little reported was the cold wave sweeping through Asia. Vietnam, not a country that you normally associate with snow at 20 degrees north latitude. Anywhere that you see on this map with the red dot received substantial amounts of snowfall. Even included Laos across the border area. Tropical vegetation covered in several inches of snow. Headlines across most of the Southeast Asian news talking about crop losses from the cold. Some images across social media here of those traveling or living in Vietnam. Tourists incredibly happy, flocking to the mountains like they did in Taiwan, seeing snow for the first time in their lives. Icy frost tree conditions. And most notably in this entire event was Nghe An. It's about 330 kilometers south of Hanoi if you're driving. It's the first time they've ever had snowfall in recorded history. And if you're looking at the latitude, it's 18.5 north, which puts it in an extremely unusual spot for snow. The snows accompanying this storm were 20 centimeters thick. That's borderline what you get in the United States during a winter snowstorm. Imagine trying to traverse this muddy road with snow and a motorbike. Some more images for you here. Roads in that area seem to be mud and dirt. Agriculture also suffering. Farmers trying to get out, put netting down to protect the crops, but the netting collapsed due to the heaviness of the snow. SaPa, they've had snow for the last 3 winters in a row, starting in 2013. Prior to that, it snowed once in the Vietnam War, once in 1940, and once in 1910. Farmers at total loss on this one. Leaves are frozen and damaged. They are going to get zero yield out of this. Some more images here of agricultural terraced land for you. The tourist taking a look at some of the plants. I would be looking for damage. Farmers really aren't so enthralled with the snow like the tourists are because, again, their livelihoods have been pushed back a year or two on earnings because of this storm. In the first days, it was reported that 2,000 cattle had died from cold, but when you look at the size of these animals, this looks like a medium-sized water buffalo, a couple of years old. Jumping to the cattle site, they were one of the early reporters on this Vietnam snowstorm. As you can see, the water buffalo not doing so well, walking around in the frigid conditions. As the tally came in, it was suddenly up to 9,000. You can see this is a small water buffalo. When large animals that are producing so much body heat freeze to death, it had to have been extremely cold and windy. And what the farmers started to do was light fires under the buffalo to actually keep them warm enough so they did not freeze to death. Humans, on the other hand, Hanoians driving around, the coldest they've experienced in 60 years down in Hanoi, didn't know how to deal with it either because it was raining and it was cold, so they started to cover themselves in trash bags and newspapers. Things just to prevent the cold from hitting their bodies as they rode the motorbikes around. Now, interestingly, this is the second time in Vietnam there's been a major storm this year. This was the first one back in December 16th, 2015. It was a real icy, cakey, windy storm. This last one was kind of a heavy, wet snow. But you really need to ask yourself, with all the predictions of the global cooling, the grand solar minimum, all the cycles downturning into cold, the end of El Nino and the start of La Nina, and you look at this type of a picture with snow on banana leaves at 18.5 north, and start delving into the realization that this event has begun. It is here. The signs are around. You got the East Coast storms. You got this tremendous cold wave pushing all the way through Asia that they haven't seen record cold temperatures like this. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And finally, next year, if we start to see the same thing in Asia again, where we get these enormous snowstorms and cold that just start to become the norm year after year, you really need to start thinking about putting a plan B into place right now, because if it happens again next year, people are going to start to wake up. And by 2018, when crops really do go offline, 2019, it's going to be too late. Everybody's going to be panicking at that point. So you have a couple years left to try to get yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually ready.